Action figures are great!
Welcome to the newest edition of TNInews with your host, JC. Hey everybody, JC here, and welcome to a Monday edition of TNInews Live. Now, just a quick warning here. So my HasLab Giant Man is supposed to be arriving today from FedEx, and it requires a signature. So if by some remote chance the FedEx guy shows up while I'm streaming here and I hear the doorbell, you may see me run off camera so I can go up there and get it and sign for it. So just be forewarned that, that could happen during the live stream. I'll be back, but I may have to run up and get my HasLab Giant Man, which I will probably do an unboxing of on Wednesday's live stream. So just want to give you guys a heads up on that in case that happens. We got a lot to go over today. We got Hasbro reveals from MCM London. We've got Hasbro reveals from 10/27 yesterday. We've got more Hasbro reveals coming next weekend from Italy, the Lucca Comic Convention. So we're not yet done yet. But so we're going to talk about that, a few other things. We've got a pre-order date for the McFarlane Toys Batman and Robin Batmobile. News on Mondo's first 2-pack for the real Ghostbusters 112 scale figures. So we got a lot to go over today, but let's just do a quick roll call, see who's in the house. Leatherhead for Hire says Mattel Creations, head over there fast. They're offering a bunch of figures that were previously sold out. Rock-On, Extendar, Fangor. They look like heads, like we're doing like a warehouse find sale, but I do think most of the good stuff has sold out. But you may run over there and want to check it out because they did have some stuff up earlier today. Kobo Cop in the house. Ain't nothing but a Nemesis party. Yes, hopefully you guys who wanted it were able to get the Nemesis Enforcer or Nemesis Immortal, whatever you want to call him. And that's in stock on Hasbro Pulse. So for those of you getting it, it looks like that's going to be shipping out ASAP. Zim, yes, so many. And more to come. Felix, what is up? Good to see you. Mr. Allmine's in the house. Good to see you, my friend. Max Zombie. Good to see you. Judge Dreads. Always good to see you, my friend. Jeremy, what's up? Eric, hello. So got a pretty full house here. Jay's Toy Collection UK evening. Thank you, Jay, for your coverage of MCM London, you and Dan Who's review. Thank you guys for getting the news out on that. He's got the entire Marvel Legend and G.I. Joe Classified portions of their presentations at MCM. If you haven't checked those out, he has those up on his channel. So again, thank you for that hard work this weekend. Hopefully you got home safe. Leatherheads for Hire. Hot Wheels Ghost Rider sold out as I was checking out. I hate when that happens. I always feel like if you've got it in your cart, you should be given like 5 minutes to check out before it disappears. It shouldn't be able to be taken out of your cart. I mean, I can understand, after a certain amount of time, but I always hate that with online purchases. And he says Extendar and Rock-On are still available. Judge, when does Heavy Duty go up? He is going up this week. So we'll segue Judge Dredd's question into heading over to the news. So that was one of the MCM London convention reveals for G.I. Joe. I mean, we'd seen a render for Heavy Duty before. Real quick, though, again, Nemesis Enforcer, which is a Hasbro Pulse exclusive. I got to tell you, one of the things I found annoying yesterday about the 1027 event is, they made it sound like everything was only going to be offered on Hasbro Pulse, and the only item that was actually a Hasbro Pulse exclusive was the Nemesis Enforcer, but they didn't really differentiate on their panel, so kind of had to figure it out. But and of course it went up at 1 p.m. for premium members and everyone at 2, but it is still available and listing is in stock. So if you haven't gotten this one, it is still available on Hasbro Pulse for $45. Originally appearing in the G.I. Joe animated movie as part of Cobra Law. So they've updated him a bit, and he is now appearing in the new Energon Universe comics from Skybound. So that's kind of what the look is more based on, but still has traits from his original G.I. Joe animated movie. I will tell you that, I went on and got this one myself, but I'm going to, and I feel like they're almost definitely going to, but if by some reason they didn't give us Globulus and Pythona, then I'm going to be a little irked, because I feel like without those two, there's not much point in giving us this guy. But hopefully those two will be coming at some point as well. But getting back to Judge Dredd's question of heavy duty. So the pre-orders, the next round of G.I. Joe pre-orders are going to be taking place on October 29th. So tomorrow, in fact. So 1 p.m. Eastern Time, Heavy Duty and the Cobra Perimeter Bunker are both going up for pre-order. So 1 p.m. Eastern Time, places like Big Bad Toy Store, Entertainment Earth will have them. So that is your question. But since we're here, here's a look at what was revealed at MCM this weekend for G.I. Joe Classified. So we've got Blowtorch, which was a name reveal, but we now have the digital render for. It looks really good. This is one I'm looking forward to. I always liked Blowtorch. So, I was a little irked actually when we got Barbecue before Blowtorch. I feel like you need the guy who starts the fires before you get the guy who puts them out. Nemesis Enforcer, again, Immortal. We got a preview of Frag Viper. Can't say this is one I, kind of, by the time this guy came out originally, I really wasn't collecting G.I. Joe anymore. So this one is not one high up on my priority list. Heavy Duty, and again, I gotta say, for me personally, Heavy Duty was not like a huge favorite character of mine. I will probably get this one. My biggest worry with this guy is he's going to be very top heavy. He's going to fall over very easily. So, but I am glad that they went with more of his original look. And then again, pre-order tomorrow along with Heavy Duty will be the Cobra Perimeter, which will come with the Trench Viper, which is just a repaint basically. But I think this is pretty cool. I think pretty cool how they've done this. This was first announced at San Diego Comic-Con, but we got better looks at it. And I like how you can take it apart and basically, build it in different ways. So you can stack them like this, or you can take the pieces and build a wall like this, a perimeter wall like this. So I personally don't have a lot of room for something like this, so I'm a little bit on the fence of whether I'm going to get this or not. But especially for those of you that like to do dioramas and that type of thing, this definitely seems like a pretty cool idea. There is a weapons rack inside there as well. So this is something you might want to buy multiples of so that you can really kind of build it out if that's what you're really into. Name reveals, we're getting retro card back versions of Flint. So this one I'll have to see how it looks. I mean, the one that we got, I'm decently happy with. So, though I got to be honest, usually these retro card back ones do end up looking better. We're getting another CoverGirl blonde hair version as she appeared in the first episode in the cartoon. She later went to her regular hair color, but originally she started out as a blonde. So we are getting a retro collection CoverGirl. I assume that'll just be one head sculpt, but who knows? Maybe they'll throw in an updated regular CoverGirl head sculpt, since a lot of people weren't really fond of the one that came with the previous CoverGirl. And then finally, retro collection Televiper, which of course the previous Televiper was offered with flight pod, so a single release of the Televiper, and I'm sure he'll look more probably cartoon oriented. But those are your GI Joe reveals from MCM. The only thing that additionally for 1027 was the Nemesis Immortal, so which again is now available on Hasbro Pulse. But definitely the standout to me was Blowtorch and CoverGirl, and the others, Frag Viper, like I said, just not really a favorite character of mine. Same with Heavy Duty. I like the Perimeter, but just not sure if I have the space for it. So, and again, you guys can check out the entire panel presentation from London, thanks to Jay's Toy Collection UK. Now, one thing I will note, unfortunately, the samples, like the actual physical samples that a lot of the other brands had on hand at MCM, were not available for G.I. Joe. And that's because of the layoffs that happened last week. Hasbro, right before their financial call, I think it was Wednesday, they laid off something like 100 employees. It was less than 100, but somewhere in that neighborhood of 100 employees. One of those employees was longtime designer John Warden, who has worked on G.I. Joe, Transformers, Power Rangers. Like he started out, first I remember him was on G.I. Joe, and he's been with the company for like 25 years. So that may not have been his first brand he worked on, but that was the first one I remember meeting him when he was on the G.I. Joe team. And then he went over to Transformers for a good while, and then they moved him over to Power Rangers, and then when they kind of stopped doing Power Rangers, they moved him back to Transformers. And then it sounded like he was had been working on G.I. Joe as well, because if you go to his Instagram page, the day before the layoffs happened, he was posting about going to MCM London to show off new G.I. Joe product. And then the next day he found out he got laid off, and he didn't end up going. And Emily mentioned in the panel that they didn't have the samples because of the layoff. She didn't specifically mention John, but putting two together based on his Instagram post, I think he was the one that had the samples, and then he got laid off and he didn't make it to London, so neither did the samples. But there you go. That's how it goes. Hopefully John will land on his feet. I think he's a pretty talented guy. As much as it sucks to get laid off, and I have been laid off myself from a job before, so I do know how much it sucks. But I will tell you, at the time it sucked, but it actually led to better things for me. So it was actually ended up being kind of a good thing I got laid off. So maybe the same thing with John. I think there's a lot of opportunities for toy designers with independent, either going your own, doing your own thing, or going with smaller companies. So I feel like there's probably actually more opportunities out there for these guys than there used to be, because it's more than just the major corporations now that these guys can find work at. So, and for those of you in the Hasbro layoffs, I've said this before. It's not about the economy per se. It's about Hasbro is transforming themselves into a different type of company. They're moving more and more away from the traditional just action figure and toy manufacturing, where they're manufacturing the stuff themselves. They're moving more into gaming and digital areas, and with the licenses they own, they are essentially moving more to licensing those out to smaller companies. So I think that's what these latest layoffs were a result from. Obviously, in late 2023, Hasbro did major layoffs with about 20% of their workforce, where they laid off about 1,500 of their people over the course of 6 months. That was definitely, I think, in a lot due to Wall Street, where they were trying to lower their expenses on their spreadsheets, so they look better financially to shareholders and stuff. But this round, I think, is just they continue to restructure. Hasbro is also talking about moving their headquarters. They've always been located in Rhode Island, and they're actually talking about moving their headquarters to Boston, Massachusetts. So I'm not entirely sure what the thinking is behind that move, but there's been a number of reports of Hasbro considering moving their headquarters to Boston. Now, a question that has been coming up a lot here is in regards to Hasbro and Marvel Legends and Star Wars. Is Hasbro going to lose the license for those brands? And the answer is not anytime soon. In fact, Dwight seemed to be kind of indicating this without specifically saying it in the MCM panel, where he essentially mentioned that they were planning out Marvel Legends through the end of 2026. So the last time the license was negotiated between Disney and Hasbro was 2023, but they did not tell us publicly, at least, how long the license was for. So that information remains unknown, but I suspect it's probably going to run through the end of 2026. So you can pretty much guarantee Hasbro is definitely going to continue to do Marvel Legends and Star Wars through the end of 2026. Now, my personal feeling on this is the relationship between Disney and Hasbro is pretty strong, and there's not a lot of companies out there that can handle not just the action figure collectibles for the adults, but all the other things that go along with those licenses, specifically more geared for the kids. That there's probably not going to be a better company than Hasbro to handle those licenses as a whole. So unless Hasbro decides they don't want to recompete for the license, meaning, again, as they move more and more away towards manufacturing toys themselves, they may decide they just aren't interested in continuing on with that license. And I think in some part that's going to have a factor of that's going to be how well upcoming movies do. Like in the earnings report that Hasbro gave last week, they specifically called out Star Wars with having slumping sales, but they also said that they were hopeful that the Mandalorian Grogu movie that's coming to theaters would help turn that around. So, if that movie is a huge box office success and it brings in a new boom of Star Wars collecting, then I definitely feel like you could see Hasbro deciding to hold on to the license. Same thing with Marvel. They said they had seen improvement in Marvel sales with the Deadpool Wolverine movie and the success of X-Men 97. So, and then that they were hopeful for the coming year with the Fantastic Four movie and the Captain America movie. So, if those two movies bomb, Captain America and Fantastic Four were to bomb, then Hasbro might decide it's not worth holding on to the license. But if those movies do pretty well, then I think Hasbro would continue to be interested in holding on to those licenses. And again, it goes beyond just action figure collectibles for adults. Hasbro recently announced a new line of Marvel Play-Doh stuff. They're doing a new subline for Magic the Gathering that will focus on Marvel. So, and again, Magic the Gathering is like a huge moneymaker for Hasbro. It's not my thing. I don't follow the RPG stuff very closely, but every time you listen to Hasbro and these financial calls and stuff, they are definitely making a lot of money on that kind of thing. So that again is where a lot of their focus is going more and more these days. When it comes to physical toys, the big seller these days are Lego. So, building blocks, as Hasbro said in the conference call, but we all basically know that Lego has pretty much a monopoly on the building block market. So, and Lego has been doing pretty successful here in recent years. So, Lego is definitely, because Lego is one of those brands that still appeals to younger kids and to the adult collector as well. So it's that sweet spot where, adult collecting demographic has grown significantly over the years, but it's still by itself is not enough to make up for the losses of, the golden age when kids and parents would buy all the toys and stuff, which is how these companies like Mattel and Hasbro became as big as they are. So, if you can hit that sweet spot where you're making product that is appealing to both the adult collector and to the younger kids and their parents, then you've got a real hit. But for a super large company with a lot of overhead, like a Mattel or a Hasbro, if it's just the adult collectors alone, it's not really enough to sustain them. So, smaller companies like a McFarlane or even like a Super 7 or whatever, they definitely can do pretty well just off of the adult collector market because they don't have the overhead. They're not publicly traded companies, all that jazz. But with the larger companies like Hasbro and stuff, they need something more than just the adult collectors buying their stuff. Um, so again, for those of you who keep asking what whether Hasbro is going to lose the Marvel Legends license or Star Wars, even, I would say definitely not until they definitely have it until the end of 2026. By all indications, and then whether they continue on past that, I think will be more up to Hasbro as opposed to like Disney going to try and take the license away from Hasbro. Now, I will tell you on the flip side of that, I've talked with, even at New York Comic Con, I was talking with some folks that work at McFarlane Toys, and I will tell you, I do think Todd really has his eye. He would love to get that Marvel license, or at least Marvel Legends license, if it ever becomes available. He is laying the groundwork, getting in good with Disney. That's basically why he did those Avatar toys, because he was trying to essentially develop a relationship with Disney. And that's why he's doing those Marvel statues, because again, he's trying to get his foot in the door with Disney. So if it ever becomes available, he has a real shot at, going in there and negotiating a deal to get that license. And I definitely think that's something he would like to see happen. Whether it does, even if the license becomes available, somebody could outbid him or whatever. So there's certainly no guarantee. And I do think when it comes to a license like Marvel or Star Wars, it has to go, the company has to show that they can handle all of it, not just the adult or collected oriented stuff. The reason why McFarlane was able to get the DC license that he did was just because they kind of split that license up between him and Spin Master, where Spin Master focused more on the kid stuff. But I don't know if Disney would be interested in doing something like that with Marvel and Marvel Legends and stuff. So, again, those are unknowns and stuff, and we would just have to wait and see. But again, I don't see anything changing on Marvel Legends or Star Wars for at least another couple years. And then, who knows where we'll be, by the end of 2026. All right, so let us continue on. Let's see. While we're bringing out McFarlane, let me again, that if you're interested in getting this Batman and Robin Batmobile, the pre-order is November 1st. So this coming Friday, 12 p.m. Eastern time. It should be available at places like Big Bad Toy Store and Entertainment Earth. At this time, there's been no indication of them doing two versions like they've been doing with previous Batmobiles, where they've done like one with a figure and one without. So right now, I won't say 100%, but right now it is looking like it's just going to be the one version with no figure as the lights and sounds. And again, will basically be available everywhere that carries McFarlane Toys stuff. So if you want to get your hands on that, I did a video about it, showing off the lights and sounds at New York Comic Con. So again, that one is going up for pre-order on Friday. We also have a Mortal Kombat 1/6 scale posed figure, essentially a statue of Sub-Zero from Mortal Kombat 1. So this is going up for pre-order on the 30th. Again, 12 p.m. Eastern time. Places like Big Bad Toy Store, Entertainment Earth, Amazon should have it. And I've seen a lot of people who've like, oh, I thought McFarlane had lost the Mortal Kombat license. There's nothing that ever suggested that Todd lost that license. Mortal Kombat on a whole has been on hiatus for like the past year for some reason, and I don't know the particulars, but that comes from the license holder basically telling everybody they didn't want them making Mortal Kombat products during this year for some reason. So I'm pretty sure McFarlane still has the license, so if he wants to continue to do action figures, he can. Same thing with like Storm Collectibles and stuff. So we could start seeing a continuation of Mortal Kombat figures in 2025. But right now we have the statue, or posed figure as they call it, that is going up for pre-order on October 30th. I think that's it for McFarlane, at least since Friday. I talked about these Justice League Task Force figures going up for pre-order on Friday in Friday's video, so I assume by now if you want to get these, you've already pre-ordered them. Those are the video game figures that they announced at New York Comic Con. Ghostbuster fans, real Ghostbuster fans. So the first 2-pack is going up for pre-order on the Mondo store website on the 29th. So this coming Wednesday, I'm sorry, actually that's tomorrow. I keep getting my dates mixed up. So this is going up for pre-order tomorrow on the Mondo website, 1 p.m. Eastern time. The first 2-pack that they showed at New York Comic Con, the Peter Venkman and the Sam Hain figure. These are everything that's included with the 2-pack. There will be a single release if you just want Peter. If you don't want to get the ghosts, you can buy. There's an option to just buy Peter. The prices as they suggested they would be at San Diego Comic-Con, which are, admittedly very high. $202 for the 2-pack, or $101 for just the Peter Venkman figure, which will include Slimer, it looks like. So if you just get Peter, you get basically everything on this side, and then if you get the 2-pack, you get the Sam Hain figure with the extra heads and the hands. So again, pre-order for that first 2-pack on the Mondo website. I believe the single pack versions will be offered to outside retailers other than Mondo if they decide they want to carry it. I don't know if the price will scare retailers away or not. We'll have to wait and see. But again, I do believe the single pack of just the Ghostbusters themselves will be available at places like a Big Bad Toy Store at some later date. But if you want to get them right away, Mondo website again tomorrow. Very pricey, even though the figures are very nice looking. These are 112, essentially 6-inch figures. But if you want real Ghostbuster 6-inch figures, I think this is probably going to be your best chance at them. So as far as why they're so highly priced, Mondo wouldn't give specifics, but they made some indication at San Diego it had something to do with the licensing. So I don't know the particulars. Again, for me, it is very high priced, but I will also say I see plenty of people who will spend this much on a generic Kickstarter figure, or spend that much on eBay to get a figure first, or what have you. So, again, as high as the price is, I think we may see hardcore Ghostbuster fans still buy in on this line. It'll be interesting to me to see if these figures sell out or not on the Mondo website. So I will definitely be watching for that to see if they sell out at all. And I've put the question out there on social media and stuff about people. And of course, everybody says the price is high, and that's because it is. But how many people actually buy these, to me? And I think Mondo isn't expecting, I think they have reasonable expectations that this is going to be a fairly limited line, but at those prices. But it'll be interesting to see how that goes. Sam Hain. That's what I said. Let's see. Wish Hasbro would get the license for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles from Playmates and see them go beyond the Power Ranger Turtle crossovers they did a few years ago. To me, the problem with Turtles is Nickelodeon has basically if Hasbro wanted to do turtle figures, I don't doubt that they could probably go to Nickelodeon and get some type of license to do turtle figures. Nickelodeon seems to basically just kind of put that license out to whoever wants it, and there's just so many different incarnations of turtle figures these days that it's crazy to me. I mean, I know turtles are popular, but every time you turn around, somebody different is doing a line of turtle action figures. So I don't know. I feel like the license is getting watered down maybe a little too much, but I don't know. I was not as big, I'm not a diehard turtle fan, so maybe it's just me, but I feel like just oversaturation of that license because Nickelodeon has, basically let so many different companies do turtle product. The price is high, but these are rare offerings. Won't be. Yeah, I mean, I got to be honest. I'm not sure we'll see somebody else ever do real Ghostbuster figures. I mean, I don't have a crystal ball, so I can't say that definitively. But it's taken this long for somebody other than just reissues of the old Kenner figures. It's taken this long for somebody to do really do real Ghostbuster figures. So this might, I don't want to say that as in like I'm trying to convince you to go spend the money on these because I'm not. I really don't care whether you spend the money on these, but practically I am thinking this could be your best chance of getting 6-inch versions of these guys. Eric says Mondo pays for top artists. That's why their products always look on point and blow other toy makers out of the water. But it's something about the license with these Ghostbuster figures because I remember at San Diego, you may recall they also announced that they were going to be doing 112 Masters of the Universe X figure 2000 X figures. They didn't follow up on that at New York Comic Con, unfortunately, but that was something they announced at San Diego, and they specifically said they didn't give us the price. They didn't tell us how much those Masters of the Universe figures would cost, but they did suggest that the cost of those 112 scale figures would be less than the real Ghostbuster figures. So, and made some indication that there was like a specific reason why these were so high in price. So, um, take that as you will, but they, like I said, based on what they were saying, there was some specific, and to me, my impression was the license itself. But I don't know if that's because maybe Mondo had to not only pay Sony but also Hasbro. I don't know. Um, I don't know how that license is structured. So, and yes, I agree. I'm not even a big Ghostbuster fan. I didn't watch the real Ghostbuster cartoon on any regular basis as a kid myself. I watched it occasionally, but when I saw those figures in person at San Diego, they were very impressive to me. So if the final product looks as good as what they showed at San Diego, you know, high price or not, I do think you're going to get a nice looking figure that will look nice on your shelf. Having collected the X-Men Batman Mondo figures, they look very good in hand, so looking forward to these Ghostbusters. And I have a few of the 12-inch Masters of the Universe figures. Overall, I have like She-Ra, He-Man. I have Battle Cat. I actually never opened my Battle Cat, but because I didn't have the room for him, so I have that one still in the box. But the She-Ra and the He-Man, the 1/6 scale, were pretty nice figures. Some minor QC issues, but still overall pretty nice figures. All right, well, let's see. What do we got next? Let's jump over to Star Wars because I feel like Star Wars had a pretty good showing at MCM. Um, the 1027 reveals are up for pre-order now. So this question I've been seeing come up a lot with the Savage Oprah's figure, the Black Series figure, and people are wondering why in these PR pictures this crotch section looks blue. And I don't have an answer for that other than I feel like that might be lighting for some reason. And the reason why I say that is because if you looked at when they had the figure out showing it during the 1027 event, it doesn't look blue there. So it's a little bit different color than like the cloth piece behind it, but it does not look blue like it does in those PR pictures. So I can't tell you which is more accurate to what you will get in the final release, but I don't recall him having blue on his outfit, so I don't know why they would have blue there. So again, I don't know why somebody allowed PR pictures with the blue showing up if it's not that blue, but that's kind of my feeling. But I guess we'll have to wait and see when people actually get the figure in hand. But so that was one of the pre-orders for today for Star Wars, and then we had two vintage collection figures that went up for pre-order today. So the two Star Vintage Collection ones are Obi-Wan Kenobi from the Obi-Wan Kenobi Disney Plus series, listed as Jedi Legend. And the other one was from the Acolyte series, Yord Fandar. So that's your Obi-Wan figure, has the goggles that are removable. And then that's your Acolyte figure, the robe's removable. He's got a lit lightsaber and just the hilt if you want to put it on his belt, like most Jedi figures do. So all three of these went up for pre-order today. You can get them at places like Big Bad Toy Store, Entertainment Earth, Amazon. So, but then later this week, on the 30th, we get more Star Wars pre-orders. So these are the reveals from MCM. So for your Black Series, we've got two Jedi from the prequels, Shakti and was it Luminara, I believe is how you say her name. And then Mr. Pudu himself, Sebulba from the pod racing scene of episode 1. So those are your three Black Series figures. Again, these are going up for pre-order on the 30th. So more G.I. Joe pre-orders tomorrow, Star Wars pre-orders on Wednesday. There's and these two vintage collection figures also are going up for pre-order tomorrow. And again, these are available everywhere. So Aurora Singh from episode 1, Bounty Hunter, also was in Clone Wars. And then this pilot, Lieutenant Callahan, from the Ahsoka series, pilot of the, was it A-Wing? And speaking of that ship, E-Wing. Sorry, A-Wing was the ones in Return of the Jedi. The E-Wing, which was in the Ahsoka series. So this was previously offered on Hasbro Pulse. It's technically, I think, listed as a Shop Disney exclusive. And Disney Store, DisneyStore.com is supposed to have these available online on November 1st. So I believe they sold out. The limited number they had on Hasbro Pulse sold out. So you get the ship and the droid, and then the pilot again is available for pre-order tomorrow, pretty much everywhere. So those are your Star Wars reveals for the weekend. Transformers had pretty shitty reveals at MCM, but I felt like they stole the show during 1027. So our first two Constructicons for the Studio series, they first announced this at San Diego Comic-Con, but we've got our first look at it yesterday. The first two in the set have gone up for pre-order. You can get them at places like Big Bad Toy Store, Entertainment Earth. They are still available, about $35. They are Voyager class size Transformers. I mean, that looks about as close to the original G1 toys as you can get, in my opinion. So again, the two that went up today, Scrapper and Bone Crusher. So, but at 10/27, we actually got a look. So here's the schedule. Here's the pre-order schedule. Actually, I guess this is the release schedule. So I'm not sure when the next two go up for pre-order, but these two that are up for pre-order now are supposed to be released in April. Then the next two, which will be obviously the next round of pre-orders, Long Haul and Hook, will go up and be released in July of next year. And then next year, September, will be the final two, Scavenger and Mixmaster. And then once you have them all, you will be able to recreate probably the best looking Devastator I feel like they've done to date, and one that will actually stay together when you move it. The last Devastator they did look pretty damn good, but if you look at it wrong, it will fall apart, just like the original G1 toy. But with this one, they've got implemented new locking mechanisms on it so that it should stay together once you combine them. Pretty good. So that to me is probably the best thing about this, is you actually maybe for the first time will have a Devastator, an accurate looking Devastator that actually stays together and that you can actually pose and move. Now note, this one is not as big as the last Devastator that they did. It is more in keeping with the recent Stunticons and Motomaster. It's about the same scale, so it will fit in perfectly with, if you have that Motormaster Stunticon set that Hasbro did, this will fit in great with that. So, which I think is good. I like the Devastator they did previously. It looks great on the shelf, but it is a little bit on the big side, especially when you compare it with other combiners that Hasbro's done. So, and here's a comparison. That's the, and this, I love this one too. I have this one, the Stunticons. They did a good job. This is their best Stunticon set that they've done to date. So these two will be in scale with each other. Devastator is maybe a little bit taller, but I think that's actually pretty accurate. So to me, that was really the best reveal from yesterday. I've been excited for this one ever since they announced it at San Diego, and I think it looks gorgeous, at least based on what they're showing us here. So they did also announce yesterday this guy I'm not as familiar with, so I got Megatronus. So we're getting a new Megatronus figure. So a tank. I want to say this guy was in the comics. I might be wrong on that. Pre-order for this one is also going to be tomorrow, or actually, I guess this went up today, along with the Constructicons. So this one is available for pre-order now. Let me just jump over. I don't see him over here. Was he a Hasbro Pulse exclusive? Maybe he's a Hasbro Pulse exclusive. Real quick, HasLab Ghostbuster Ecto 1 is up to 74.73. You've got till November 1st. If you want the Lewis Tully figure included, that's the cutoff date for the early bird figure. So, we're moving along. Hopefully, it'll get to 12,000 before November 1st, so that figure will be included. Now, I don't see the Megatronus up, so I'll have to look into that, see what's up with the Megatronus, because it looked like that was supposed to go up today. But Eric says, see, Eric's on top of this. Eric says they changed the date. Do you know what they changed the date to? I'm getting the Constructicons just have to have better individual cons. Combiner Wars will still be the defunct Devastator. He scales better with Dinobots. That is true. The bigger one. But again, you can't really have him fight the Dinobots, that one, because it'll fall apart. They actually told me at Comic Con that this new Devastator should be able to actually pick up the new Studio Series was it Sludge, I think, that he picked up in the movie. So you can like recreate that scene where he actually picks up the Dinobot to throw. So, and the joints won't fall apart when you do it. Judge Dredd's Ecto is going down to the wire, but I thought it would fun faster with everyone drooling over it. I'm not surprised. I mean, keep in mind, the reason why Hasbro hasn't been doing more Plasma Series stuff is because I don't think it's sold very well. So I don't know, I'm not as in tune with Ghostbuster collectors because it's not something I've personally collected. But my feeling is, for whatever reason, Ghostbuster fans are more into the replica stuff, the cosplayer stuff, the costume stuff than actual toys. So I am not shocked. I mean, wasn't it Mattel who tried to do an Ecto one, crowdfund an Ecto one years ago, and that failed? So I'm not shocked. I do think it will fund. I'm not sure it's going to fund by November 1st for the Tully figure. I hope it does, but but uh but I do think it will fund by the end of the day. But I'm not surprised like it didn't fund in the first 24 48 hours or anything like that. Let's see, what else do we got? Actually, before we go anywhere, I also wanted to share. So I finally got my retro Cobra Commander uh, battle helmet Cobra Commander. So this finally arrived last week. I gotta say I like it. The arms, the way they sculpted this arm, so if you turn it a certain way, it kind of sticks out a little bit funny, but still overall, I think they did a good job. He's got the back piece with his blow dryer gun, though I do think the gun is maybe a little bit on the small side. I feel like the barrel should be a little bit longer, but overall, I like it. At first, from the initial images I saw, I wasn't sure I was going to like the vac metal faceplate, but I actually think it looks pretty cool. Now, if you've got the Was a Man Cobra Commander, I believe you can take the non-vac metal head sculpt that was included with that one and put it on here. I have that figure, but I haven't opened it, so I haven't tried that. He's got the knife, the sheath. I never like it when they make these things with the straps on the legs where they're actually separate pieces, because they always have a tendency to slide down the leg, which is the case with the knife. Still, it looks good once you get it up there and kind of get it stuck. Now, one thing I want to note, so I have this Cobra Commander. This is the classified Cobra Commander, but this hooded head is a custom sculpt that I had made, and I forget, sorry, it was a couple years ago I had this made, so I forget the name of the person who did it, but they did a great job. But one of the questions I had wondered was, would I be able to take this new retro Cobra Commander and stick my hood on it? And the answer is yes. I do think it works pretty well. The blues are not 100%. The blue on the hood doesn't match 100% with the blue on the body, but it's pretty close. In fact, in the camera, I don't even think you can really tell the difference. But overall, I thought it came out pretty good. I still haven't decided which figure, like which Cobra Commander I want to be my primary display Cobra Commander. Um, Actually, I like that has the classified version with the darker blue and the battle helmet and the the chains and stuff. So I like that one too. So I don't know, but I am happy with this figure overall. I probably will keep the hood on this one because it has the cape and everything. So I just think it's more fitting. But again, I thought they did a pretty good job with that one. Let's see. You know what? I forgot to flip the camera so you can get a better look. Oh, there you go. And so this is classified figure. This was the hood I had made for this figure, but again, it actually works pretty well on this one. Whether Hasbro ever does their own hooded version, I won't say it's impossible, but at this point, I wouldn't count on it. So, but again, I like the vac metal. And I like I like these classified Cobra Commanders too. So, I'm trying to think if we missed anything. Oh, Marvel Legends. We haven't gone over the Marvel Legends stuff. So, you want to mouse cursor. All right, so let me go back over here. Okay, so Marvel Legend reveals at MCM were these Captain America Brave New World deluxe figures, which are available for pre order now. Places like Big Bad Toy Store, Entertainment Earth, Amazon, you name it. New design on the wings. So these are not the same wings they used with the previous Sam Wilson cap. They're better articulated. You get two head sculpts. You get the helmeted head. You get the unhelmeted head. This is the new Falcon. Since Sam is now Cap, we've got a new Falcon. Yes, looks very much like the Vulture. I too, when I first saw this figure, my first thought was, "Ooh, a new Vulture figure," but it is actually Falcon. And then Red Hulk from the movie, which the Red Hulk figure as in and of itself, I think looks pretty good, but that does not look anything like Harrison Ford in the face sculpt. Um, so I don't feel like the face sculpt is movie accurate, but just as a Red Hulk figure in of itself, I think it looks pretty good. So again, all three deluxe figures, all three available for pre-order. I think this is it for the movie. That's what I mean. They didn't say 100%, but that was kind of the implication that I was getting from them, that these were going to be it for this new movie. So there's not a Build-A-Figure wave. They were thinking about doing a Build-A-Figure wave, they said, but then they knew that these guys were going to have these big wings and stuff, and that these would be better done as deluxe figures. So, um, and again, they are available for pre-order now. And then at MCM, they gave us our first look at a digital render for the Dark Avengers Warbird figure, Moonstone, who is impersonating, Captain Marvel. So our second Dark Avenger member, we got the box set previously, and now we have with Iron Patriot, and now we have Warbird, and they did strongly hint that they would be doing more Dark Avenger figures next year. Also, possibly some extra parts. So I feel like they were maybe suggesting Carol Danvers head sculpt to go on this body if you want. But that I guess we will have to see. Again, this coming weekend, Hasbro is going to be at another convention, this one in Italy. And there should be some more reveals, definitely some more Marvel Legend reveals. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see more Dark Avengers revealed this coming weekend. That's a guess of my part, but I feel like this Dark Avenger wave might be the first wave that goes up for pre-order for 2025. So I feel like that might be what they continue to roll out. Let's see. They also talked about the Sentinel, the made to pre-order Sentinel. So we got to look at some prototypes. There will be things like thigh cuts added to this figure when all is said and done. This is still an early prototype. This is the same figure that we saw on display at New York Comic Con. There will be texturing added to the figure, they said. So kind of like Giant Man and stuff. So pre-order for Dark, at least this figure, if not more. I suspect there might be a whole wave that goes up, but right now we just know about this figure. And that's going to go up for pre-order on November 7th. It should be available everywhere, not just Hasbro Pulse. And they also said something about a red brick wave, which I think red brick was just a code word, but essentially they were indicating there's going to be a Build-A-Figure wave coming. And they were talking, when they were talking about the texturing for the Sentinel, Jesse Falcon teased this red brick wave that they had just been talking about. That's going to have a Build-A-Figure that will also have texturing on it. So take that for what you will. Maybe the Dark Avenger wave, I don't know. And that's pretty much it for Marvel this weekend. The Captain America figures and then the Dark Avenger Warbird. They've been hinting strongly more X-Men 97 figures. They hinted it at New York Comic Con. They hinted it at MCM. They hinted it at 1027. So definitely more X-Men 97 stuff coming next year from Hasbro. Is there anything else? I think that's pretty much it. So yes. So more pre-orders tomorrow and the 30th. McFarlane pre-order for the Batmobile on the 1st. So another expensive week. And then more reveals this coming weekend from Hasbro. Now again, I say this. I said this last week about MCM and 1027. I said it about New York Comic Con. I'm going to say it about this weekend. Do not expect a ton of reveals from any brand. It's probably just going to be one or two items for each brand. We're at the end of the year. They're trying to squeeze in all these extra international conventions. So they're, saving normally if they weren't doing these international conventions, these are probably all things they would have announced at New York Comic Con. But because they're trying to spread things out, give everybody a little bit of love, we're seeing it more piecemeal. So don't expect a lot this weekend, but we should expect a few more reveals this weekend. I don't have specifics whether Hasbro's going to have a panel at Luca, whether, and if so, when it is or when they're going to do the reveals. So I might have more information on that for you guys on Wednesday. But again, I'm buying one Sentinel. I don't really have room for more. You can see my Sentinel display behind me there on top of my X-Men video game. So I will put it the one with those. I have the HasLab Sentinel. I have the Marvel Universe Sentinel. I have the original Toy Biz Sentinel Build-A-Figure. I have a Sentinel bobblehead back there from Funko. I have the new video game Sentinels that Hasbro just released. So I have been building up quite a Sentinel army. I did not get the Titan Hero Sentinel, with the minimal articulation, or the was it Icon Heroes or something? Yeah, the smaller scale Sentinel that they did. I didn't get those, but I will get one of this made to pre-order Sentinel from X-Men 97. But I just don't have the room for more, so I'm not gonna. I am still not sure where I'm going to put my Giant Man when it arrives later today. So in fact, I've got stuff piling up that I've not yet opened, mainly because I don't know where I'm going to put it. I really need to do kind of like a cleaning reorg in here, shelf reorg, but I just have not had the time. So I've got stuff piling up. I've got a big box from Big Bad Toy Store over there that I have not opened, which I believe has my Batman Forever Batmobile in it. It has my Wolverine and Deadpool Marvel Legend figures, along with the Colossus movie figure, and a couple of G.I. Joe Classified retro cardback figures. Stalker and Beachhead, I believe, is in that box as well. So yeah, I got stuff piling up. I've got Giant Man coming today, which I don't know where I'm going to put him. But I'm going to open that on Wednesday, I think. So if you guys come back on Wednesday, we'll do a HasLab Giant Man unboxing. We'll see if mine comes with all the eyes and everything, because I've been hearing people have not been getting all the eye parts that were supposed to be included. That was a decision. I mean, you're right. I could have put display cabinets back there as opposed to the video games. This wall over here, which you can't see, is all display cabinets, but I like the video games, so, and I have all the stuff on top of the video games. But you're right. If I wanted to get rid of the video games, I could put more display cabinets over there and display more toys. But it's kind of like a balance. But it doesn't matter how much room you allocate. As much stuff that comes out these days, sooner or later you're going to run out of room. It's just inevitable. So I don't know. Like I say, I really need to go through and maybe change up some of these display cases. They definitely need dusting. They're all very dusty. I hate dusting my action figures. So at some point I need to do that. It's just a matter of finding the time to do it. And we keep having these conventions and stuff on the weekends. So, weekends are usually where I have my most free time. And lately that has not been the case. Okay, guys. So we're going to call it a day. But as always, thank you for tuning in. Again, I will be back on Wednesday. I don't think the Giant Man showed up, so I didn't have to run up and sign for it. But who knows when it's going to show up today. Usually FedEx comes late in the day. So again, hopefully I'll have it by Wednesday so we can open that. But as I said, thank you guys for tuning in. As always, stay safe out there. And until next time, I will catch you later. Thanks for watching today's video. Now, if you're new to the channel, please think about hitting that subscribe button. Also hit the bell notification so you're alerted every time I upload a new video. For all the latest action figure news, be sure to head over to ToyNewsEye.com, MarvelousNews.com, JediInsider.com, and TFormers.com. And remember, action figures are great,